Welcome to the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast, a podcast where we provide tips and tricks to take the confusion out of learning to play guitar. Beginner Guitar Academy is a fast-growing online guitar school taking you from complete beginner to well-rounded guitarist. So are you ready for your next guitar lesson?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Here's your host, Amazon best-selling author of the book Learn to Play Electric Guitar, Paul Andrews.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. And in this week's episode, we're going to be discussing 10 awesome female guitarists. Now this is part 1 in a 2-part series. So in this episode, we'll be looking at 5 awesome guitar players. And then next week, we'll finish it off looking at the remaining 5. Now, before we jump into that, I'm just going to go over a little bit of housekeeping. So Beginner Guitar Academy members, head over to the Academy because I've just uploaded the Learn to Play Another Brick in the Wall recording. Now, we did this workshop last Saturday, and I broke down this classic track into 3 different levels. So beginner, intermediate, and advanced. There should be something there for everyone. And we also went over the iconic solo, and it was quite a long workshop. Went off about 80 minutes in the end, but it was worth it because we had a lot of fun and it is an awesome tune. So check out, guys, the recording is now in the Academy. Also, make sure you don't miss our next workshop, which is on Sunday, March the 21st, where we'll be learning beginning fingerstyle guitar. So if you've never played fingerstyle before and interested in the style, then this is the workshop for you. Or if you have been playing it for a little while and just want to really get the basics really solid, then check this out, and that is on March 21st. Members log in, you'll see on the dashboard the button and more information to join on Sunday. Now, with all that out of the way, let's dive into this week's episode. As it was International Women's Day on Monday, March the 8th, I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about awesome female guitarists. Now, whenever you see the kind of best guitarists in the world, or those kind of polls you see a lot in guitar magazines, you're obviously male-dominated, and guitar tends to be obviously male-dominated. But interestingly enough, in 2019, Fender reported that 50% of all beginner and inspirational players are female. And women can do it just as good as men. And that's what this episode and next week's episode is all about, showcasing the awesome female guitarists that perhaps you haven't heard of and you probably should have. So let's dive straight in. And we're going to begin with Sister Rosetta Thorpe. Now, Sister Rosetta Thorpe was born in a little town called Cotton Plant in Arkansas on March the 20th, 1915. And she was raised in the Church of God and Christ, where she was encouraged to use her musical gifts through the church. She started playing the guitar at the age of 4, and at the age of 6, she performed for her mum as part of an evangelical troupe that toured throughout the American South. And she was actually billed as a singing and guitar playing miracle. Now, in 1938 and 1939, she moved to New York and started playing shows, bringing gospel music to a wider audience. And in 1951, she got married to Russell Morrison in Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. Now, it's in front of an audience of 25,000 people. So they actually sold tickets to her wedding, and people came along, they brought gifts, and it was recorded as well and released as a top-selling record. Now, the Beatles are often cited as being the originators of stadium rock through their Shea Stadium gig in the 60s, but Sister Rosetta Thorpe was doing this in the early 50s. So she is really the originator of stadium rock. Now, as her fame diminished in America in the 1960s, she went and toured Europe with Muddy Waters, which was very inspiring for a lot of the British blues rockers at the time, and some of them you may have heard of, such as Keith Richards, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, you know, those little guitar players that you don't really hear that much about. And she was a massive influence on a lot of other musicians as well. Elvis, Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, again, those kind of small unknown artists. And Chuck Berry even said that his career was one long Sister Rosetta Thorpe impersonation, and Little Richard named her as his greatest influence. So I think it's quite safe to say that Sister Rosetta Thorpe is the most influential musician of the 20th century that you've probably never heard of. And she's so iconic. She played a white Gibson SG, singing gospel music, rocking out an electric guitar, and she has a really interesting finger-picking style. So I encourage you to go and check her out on YouTube just so you can see that kind of style for yourself. Now, Sister Rosetta Thorpe died on October the 9th, 1973, aged 58. She truly was the originator of rock and roll. Chuck Berry is hailed as, you know, the rock and roll master, but he was inspired by Sister Rosetta Thorpe. She really is the original innovator of rock and roll music. So let's check her out. I've got a recording, Didn't It Rain? So a live recording for you to listen to so you can hear for yourself what an awesome player and musician Sister Rosetta Thorpe is.
Didn't it rain, children? Rain, oh yes. Didn't it? Yes, didn't it? You know it did, didn't it? Oh yes, how it rained. I said it rained, children. Rain, oh yes. Didn't it? Yes, didn't it? You know it did, or didn't it? Oh my Lord, how it rained. You know it rained 40 days, rained 40 nights to make my garment fit me right. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my robe, walk around in glory, tell the glad news. Look up David in the heat of the day, tune up a harp and begin to play. I know it rained, you know it rained. Oh, how it rained, rained too long, all night long. Rain, 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 rain. Didn't it rain, children? Rain, oh yes. Didn't it, yes. Didn't it, you know it did, or didn't it? Oh my Lord, how it rained. Can't you take on more? But no cried out, my friends. The angel's got the key and you can't get in. I know it rained, you know it rained. Rain too long, all night long. Rain all day, rain all night. Rain, 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 rain. Rain, 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 rain. Rain, children. Rain, oh yes. Didn't it, yes. Didn't it, you know it did, or didn't it? Oh my Lord, how it
rained! Next guitarist we're going to talk about is Nita Strauss. And Nita Strauss was born on the 7th of December 1986 in LA in California. She was 13 years old when she started playing the guitar, and she was inspired to do so by the film Crossroads. If you don't know that one, that is a film with Steve Vai and the Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio. And it's all about a guitar player's kind of journey becoming a good guitar player. And there's some iconic scenes there where there's some guitar duels with Steve Vai and Ralph Macchio. And that was what inspired Strauss to pick up the guitar and rock out, or to transition to heavy kind of rock guitar or shred guitar. She played in the Iron Maidens with Courtney Cox, who's another awesome female guitar player, and joined Alice Cooper's band in June 2014, which she currently still is within and still touring. She's the first signature female artist to have an Ibanez guitar and ranked number 1 on Guitar World's 10 female guitar players you should know about. Her debut solo album, Controlled Chaos, was released in April 2018, which she actually crowdfunded through Kickstarter. She was hoping to get $20,000 as her goal and ended up reaching $165,000 with 1,900 backers backing her project. She is an awesome guitar player. So to check out her playing, I've chosen a guitar solo from 2017 when she's on tour with Alice Cooper. So have a listen to this and check out just how awesome she is. Samantha Fish is the next guitarist we're going to discuss, and she was born in Kansas City on January 30th, 1989. And she started out actually playing drums, but switched guitar when she was 15. In 2011, Fish released her first studio album titled Runaway, which won the 2012 Blues Music Award for Best New Artist. Her sixth studio album, Kill or Be Kind, was released in 2019, and Samantha plays a white Gibson SG, much like Sister Rosetta Thorpe we talked about earlier, as well as Fender Jaguars. So check out this live recording of I Put a Spell on You, which is from 2014, and just check out her awesome voice and her awesome fiery blues guitar chops. So take a listen to this.
Go here.
Orianthi is the next guitar player we're going to be talking about, and she was born in Adelaide, Australia on January 22nd, 1985. She started playing piano at just the age of 3 and moved to guitar when she was 6. She opened for Steve Vai at just 14 years old and was invited at 18 to jam backstage with Carlos Santana, which led to her performing on stage with him just 45 minutes later in front of a crowd of 15,000. Orianthi released her first studio album in 2005 titled Violet Journey, which led to her signing with Geffen Records in 2006. In 2009, Orianthi appeared on the 51st Annual Grammy Awards as Carrie Underwood's lead guitarist. Following that performance, she was contacted by Michael Jackson's management, and she later then became the guitarist for his This Is It tour, which unfortunately never took place due to Michael Jackson's death on June 25th, 2009. She released her first major label debut, titled Believe, in October 2009, which produced the worldwide hit According to You. She then went on to tour with Alice Cooper from 2011 to 2014, which is when she resigned from. She was then replaced with Nita Strauss, I can't say the name, which we did discuss obviously earlier. She released her third studio album, O, in 2020, and Orianthi plays PRS guitars. Now, we're going to have to take a listen to her rocking out with a song, Light of Manos, which was from 2010.
Orianthi, everybody! Woo!
Hello. How you guys doing tonight? It's very awesome to be here. It's actually my second trip here to the factory, and it's so awesome to see everybody again. And I'm playing a few tunes for you all, if you like them.
So last guitarist we're going to discuss, and definitely not the least, is Kaki King. And Kaki King was born in Atlanta, Georgia on August 24th, 1979. Her first studio album, Everybody Loves You, was released in 2003, and in February 2006, Rolling Stone magazine released a list of the new guitar gods. And Kaki King was not only the only female on this list, she was also the youngest artist on this list. In 2007, Kaki was invited by Dave Grohl to record the track Ballad of the Beaconsfield Miners, which appears on the Foo Fighters album Echo, Silence, Patience and Grace. Dave Grohl said of Kaki, "There are some guitar players that are good, there are some guitar players that are really f***ing good, and then there's Kaki King." Check out the videos on her YouTube channel from her The Neck is a Bridge to the Body performance, where she puts images on the guitar via a projector and creates this awesome multimedia performance. Kaki King has 9 studio albums. The most recent, Modern Yesterdays, was released in 2020 during lockdown. And Kaki plays Ovation guitars and has her own signature model. So the track I'm going to play with Kaki is a live version of Teek from July 2020. Now, the interesting thing about this, she uses a passerelle. Now, this is something she's developed with a luthier, and what it is basically an extra bridge you put on your guitar. I think it's around the 16th fret, and it just raises the strings quite high. So obviously you loosen them off, you raise the strings, you tighten it back up, and it gives the guitar a really interesting sound, like a Japanese koto, if you know what one of those is. So take a listen, it's a very interesting sound, and she is a very interesting player, very innovative, creating obviously tools like the passerelle to get the sound that's in her head. She's just fantastic, so definitely check her out. But here is Teek from July 2020. And there we go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. So if you head over to beginnerguitaracademy.com, click on podcast in the main menu, that will take you to the podcast webpage, and you'll find show notes for this episode. And I'll link all of the videos I've talked about, all the artist information, all that kind of good stuff, so you can get more info about the 5 awesome female guitarists we went over this week. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast in whatever podcast app you're using so you don't miss out on future episodes. And obviously part 2 that's going to be dropping next week. Be awesome as well if you can rate and review the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. Helps get this out to more beginner guitar players. And yeah, I'd really appreciate it. So I think that's all I need to say this week. And I look forward to speaking to you guys next week for part 2 of 10 awesome female guitarists. Take care, keep practicing, and I'll speak to you soon. If you've enjoyed this week's episode of the podcast, I invite you to come and check out beginnerguitaracademy.com. Beginner Guitar Academy is an essential resource for beginner and intermediate guitarists looking to take the confusion out of learning and the pain out of practice. Now, if you've never picked up the guitar before and don't know where to begin, or maybe you've been going around in circles for years and now looking for direction and structure, Beginner Guitar Academy is for you. Our structured classes, lessons, fortnightly workshops, video evaluation system and private community will give you everything you need to become the guitar player you want to be. And right now you can give Beginner Guitar Academy a try for 2 weeks for just $1. So head over to beginnerguitaracademy.com, sign up today, and I look forward to seeing you in the academy soon.
Thank you for listening to the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, updates, or to start your membership today, please visit us at www.beginnerguitaracademy.com. Until next time, take care